Welcome to the Black Liberation.Tech podcast, brought to you by Jordan Nuance LLC and hosted by Dr. Renee Jordan. This podcast is a accumulation of Dr. Jordan's dissertation work and her passion for empowering Latinas, Afro-Latinas, Black women, and girls to navigate the academic and professional worlds with confidence and success. Whether you're a mother or guardian guiding a child through grades 6 through 12, an undergrad or grad student, someone working on a dissertation or thesis, or simply looking to carve out your niche in the career landscape, this podcast is for you. Each episode, Dr. Jordan shares her story, offers invaluable advice, and provides practical coaching to help you thrive in school, work, and beyond. Join our community on patreon.com/Black Liberation Tech and become a member for as low as $5 per month. As a member, you'll gain exclusive access to live recordings, impromptu academic and career coaching, and a network of like-minded individuals committed to mutual support and success. You're also welcome to follow Black Liberation Tech on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn, or Black Lib Tech on X, formerly known as Twitter. Visit black-liberation.tech for even more information on Dr. Jordan's adventure in Inglés o Español. Tune in, get inspired, and let's embark on this journey together. Welcome to Black Liberation.Tech, where your success story begins. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Liberation.Tech podcast. I am your host, Dr. Renee Jordan, and today we are going to take a look at one of my blog posts from April 2018, and it's entitled, Do the Eyes Have It? Last week, I had the distinct honor, privilege, and pleasure of attending, presenting, and serving as a discussant at the 2018 Comparative and International Education Society, CIES, annual conference, Remapping Global Education, South-North Dialogue in Mexico City, Mexico. During the conference, I presented Do the Eyes Have It? Using Ubuntu's We and Descartes' I to examine pedagogical engagements during the Indigenous Knowledge and the Academy Special Interest Group, philosophical and theoretical reflections on ways of knowing roundtable session. And I served as a discussant during the Information and Communication Technology for Development, ICT4D Special Interest Group, Research Track, Perceptions and Attitudes Towards ICT-Based Teaching and Learning paper session. I also met some cool people while at and around the conference. Tutalini Asino, one of my advisors, Pita, Binda, Rebecca, Mariette, Iman, Hui, also known as Autumn, Maya, Eric, Chow, Payway, Nicole, Jennifer, Stephan, Desmond, Jasmine, Shelley, Jose, Jesus, Tomas, and more. Instead of a whole lot of words, I'll just let the pictures do the talking. Good times. And once again, that was my blog post from April 2018 entitled Do the Eyes Have It? For this particular presentation, once again, I worked on it in my qualitative research class with my methodologist, Dr. Fournillier. She challenged me to take a look at my data in two different ways by using two different philosophies. One of the arguments that I wanted to make with my dissertation work was that the African philosophy Ubuntu, I am because we are, and since we are, therefore I am, places the researcher in a different position when viewing the data, and that counts for all parts of the data. Consequently, my methodologist, Dr. Fournillier, challenged me by suggesting that I take a look at the same data with two different philosophies. A Western philosophy from Descartes, who is known for I think, therefore I am, up against the African philosophy Ubuntu, I am because we are, and since we are, therefore I am. As a result of taking on this challenge, I submitted a proposal to CIES, the Comparative and International Education Society's annual conference, and that happened in Mexico City. And I was accepted. I was so excited. I had never been there before, and I saw the opportunity to present, not only to be celebrated, but also the opportunity to go and share my work with people in Mexico as something extra special. I'm not going to sit here and share my roundtable discussion, but in short, I took a look at the data from my graduate research assistantship with the AMAZE program, where students were developing mobile applications, and analyzed it from a we standpoint versus an I perspective, and had a discussion about that with those who were also at my table. Now, what happened during the roundtable was very interesting. There was someone there who challenged me and said, how can you place this African philosophy on African Americans in America in an urban setting? They have not been to South Africa. They also may not be South African. So how can I frame students in this way? In response to this challenge, I presented him with various arguments as to why I, as a researcher, could use an African philosophy as opposed to a Western philosophy when analyzing the data regarding those who identified as Black or African American. One of those points dealt with Afrocentricity as described by Molefe Asante. I will not go into detail about that at this time, but to keep the story short, that wasn't enough. So I simply made a flat statement and told the gentleman at the table, because I'm Black. Since I am Black, therefore, it's all right for me to use an African philosophy when I am analyzing my research as opposed to a Western philosophy. No one asks or challenges someone who uses a Western philosophy when looking at data. It's regularly accepted as valid, and it doesn't matter who the participants are or who's using the Western philosophy. It goes without saying, oh yes, that's acceptable. However, in this instance, I found that using an African philosophy in order to describe a phenomenon went challenged. And instead of going back and forth with the gentleman, I ended the conversation by stating that I'm Black, and just because I do not know my direct African heritage, it does not eliminate me from being able to say, hey, I want to take a look at data using an African philosophy and compare it to what I would get if I went forward with a Western philosophy. And as a result, I was able to demonstrate that there were differences in terms of the perspective that can be held when you use these different lenses to view and analyze data. Whether or not my argument changed the gentleman's mind, I was satisfied in my response in knowing that I wasn't trying to frame the students and say the students are working in this African philosophy. I was using tools that are available to anyone to help me understand what was going on in a phenomenon. After the gentleman left, the women at the table congratulated me on the way I posed my argument for using Ubuntu as a result of my African heritage. They also expressed that they wouldn't have handled the situation in the same manner, and that I definitely took the high road. I thought it was interesting that this argument came about during an Indigenous Knowledge and the Academy table discussion. Just because I do not identify as an Indigenous person does not mean that their ways of knowing and being are not applicable to others. What they have to say is valuable and should be considered by others as tools to view, collect, and analyze data. In response to my experience at this roundtable, I was inspired to write something else. And that allowed me to dig deeper into my PhD journey and to write an autoethnographic work during a writing workshop with my methodologist, Dr. Janice Fournillier. So as a result of this experience, I want to encourage you to explore philosophies that may not be mainstream in order to get a different perspective on a phenomenon. And one of the ways to do that is to put them juxtaposed to a Western philosophy in order to see how you're able to gather different perspectives on the same phenomenon. By using philosophies that are not within the Western framework, you are increasing what could be said within a discipline. During the conference, I also served as a discussant for the ICT 4D SIG research track. And SIG stands for Special Interest Group. I enjoy being a discussant because I get to listen to what others have to say about their work, ask them questions in order to get a better understanding of their work, as well as pose recommendations for how they may address some holes that were uncovered during their presentation. During this conference, I enjoyed the conversations that were had amongst attendees, and I list those people in my blog. One of the attendees, Binda, we keep in touch to this day, and she is doing very well, and I am very proud of her. We were able to continue our conversations in other ways by going on a full day tour of Mexico City, and we were able to see the pyramids, historic sites in downtown Mexico City, enjoy a buffet, and even some dancing. With all that being said, I want to encourage you to submit to conferences, and when you're submitting to conferences, consider a round table. A round table I find to be less intimidating than doing a full paper presentation. At a round table, you can talk in an informal way amongst your peers about your work, as well as have opportunities for others to share their work and to ask them questions. At our table, there was about 8 to 10 people, and I find that less intimidating than a full room of 30 to 50 people as I present a paper. I would say that a roundtable discussion is somewhere in between a paper presentation and a poster session. You get to speak with a set number of people for about 5 to 8 minutes about your work, get feedback, and then hear from the rest of those who are also at the table to present their work. Those who are interested in the topic of your table are able to join in on the conversation and have a sit-down discussion, informal discussion about what it is you're doing, how you came about your work, and what you want to do moving forward. Thank you for tuning in to the BlackLiberation.Tech podcast, brought to you by Jordan Nuance LLC and hosted by Dr. Renee Jordan. We hope today's episode has inspired you and provided valuable insights to help you navigate your academic and professional journey with confidence and success. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, as well as rate and review the podcast to help it become more discoverable. Whether you're guiding a child through grades 6 through 12, tackling undergraduate or graduate studies, working on a dissertation or thesis, or exploring your career options, this podcast is here to support you every step of the way. Join our community on patreon.com/BlackLiberationTech and become a member for as low as $5 per month. As a member, you'll enjoy exclusive access to live recordings, impromptu academic and career coaching, and a network of like-minded individuals committed to mutual support and success. Don't forget to follow Black Liberation Tech on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn, or Black Lib Tech on X, formerly known as Twitter. Visit black-liberation.tech for even more information on Dr. Jordan's adventures, available in both English and Spanish. Stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep moving forward. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.